Hello everyone, and welcome back to Farming Simulator 19, Episode 2. So we are finishing up our sunflower harvest here, and I think the main goal of today is going to be sort of finishing up what we need for crops. So we'll get a sprayer to fertilize. We will good. We need to unload this. We may have to get a second tractor so that I can hire a worker to do like sowing while I take the a second tractor and do whatever else I need to do. Like this, like I can take crops while the worker's working. What else do we need? Maybe a weeder, depending on how much those are. Again, just so we can keep fertilizing. We need to do 3 fertilizers to maximize our yield. We're not going to worry about lime yet, so we're not going to get 100% yield, I believe, but we'll get like 90%. And again, I did shut off plowing, so that's not going to affect it. So yeah, today is going to be getting ready just to get good yield on our crops, and then we'll try to get a field planted. Okay, so now we can not worry about this for a little bit. We missed a little bit there. We're not going to worry about that because that's going to be barely any money, that little strip. It's not worth our time. Alright, so I think right now let's get started on sowing a new field, and then we can look at the shop and see what we need to buy. That was strange. So I did up the graphics a bit because they were really bad on the last video. Especially the shadows really bothered me. I don't know if any of you noticed, but it was... Is this tractor too small for this sower? Let's see, I need to... First of all, I want to plant canola. It seems really heavy, and I can't maneuver it, which means we might need to just get a bigger tractor. That is surprising, since that didn't seem to be that big of a fertilizer. So let's go look at tractors, and it's usually worth just buying a nice one. Maybe not that nice. So I have this one, which is pretty small. So that is, there we go, 142 horsepower, 210. What's the next John Deere? 228. Oh, that would last us a long time, and that is a lot of money. What's that Valtra? 175. $142, 210. I think this would be good. Let's take out a loan and get this, because right now I cannot drive this. Or I could just buy a weight, right? Or the weights. If I just buy a weight, 900, it's probably fine. Let's just try it. And see if that solves our problem a bit. Because I know it's probably hard to tell just by watching. Oh yeah, I'm in it. But yeah, I had no control over that sower. I couldn't turn. But didn't I... Huh, I don't want to reset the sower because I think that will erase the... Like, it'll delete the seed and fertilizer inside. Or I think that's how it works. Again, I'm still relearning stuff. Like, for example, I guess I can't attach a weight to this. So that might have been a waste of money. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, let's take out a loan and just get this tractor. Enough talking about it. So if I get to the bank page, borrow, we'll just get to 200 because we're going to need to borrow some anyway. I really didn't want to borrow money. I basically wanted to wait as long as possible to borrow, and I think we're at the point where I just need to do it. And of course I'll make it as pretty as I can, even though it costs a little money. That's not worth money. Yeah, I like that. That's usually the color I go for. Front loader attacher, yes. Oh, we can always customize it later. Where's our engine? 20,000? No. We're good. Whew, it's a big purchase. So then I can use the little one, the John Deere will kind of be my tractor. Wonder if this one can take a weight since I already bought it. Yeah, might as well. At least then we'll have it by our farm. Looks like our harvesting is done. You can see in the top right that the helper has completed their task. I can get rid of the controls. So we'll get this started, get a sprayer, take the sunflowers in, and I think that should do. So we got a plan. I'm just going to kind of play for a while. Probably won't talk too much about what I'm doing. So a lot of people have been asking like where I've been since I have not, until last week, I hadn't posted a video since 2018. It's actually December of 2018. Farming Sim 19 had been out for, I think, just shy of 2 months. And I was kind of like redoing my tutorials like I usually do. Oh gosh, this is anyway, I was redoing tutorials. I don't even think I had done a Let's Play. I think I was just really focusing on my tutorials, and then I just sort of stopped. And I was kind of surprised when I came back last week that people were wondering where I was. But it was very nice. It's really nice to still have support. I definitely feel and am super lucky that I can come back after a year and 7 months and people are still watching and supportive. So I really thank everyone for kind of sticking with me even after all that. And the reason I didn't really talk about where I've been is just because there's really no story. It's pretty boring and uneventful. So the biggest thing to note is that it was never really planned. I didn't plan on stopping. I didn't plan on not making videos anymore, and I definitely didn't plan on not making videos for that long. I didn't plan on taking a year and 7 months off of YouTube. It's one of those things that just sort of happened. I sort of gradually created fewer and fewer videos and just sort of kind of faded out of it. And it was one of those things where once you break a habit, it's really tough to get started again, just because it sort of kind of leaves, I wouldn't say it leaves your mind completely, but it's just hard to like get going again. And I think we've all experienced that with something, where you're into something and then once you kind of stop doing it, it's tough to get back into it. And it never like left my mind. Like I would keep checking comments, not that I'd always respond, but I'd check my channel and but I just wouldn't hit record. So that was kind of the biggest thing I wanted to note, that it wasn't ever a plan to take that long off. But really, there was no like cataclysmic event that occurred. I would say that the two biggest things was burnout, which I'm sure you've heard many other YouTubers and streamers talk about. And again, just like kind of a lack of discipline slash breaking a habit and just not getting back into it. So when it comes to burnout, it wasn't even that I burned out of YouTube. I just burned out from Farming Simulator. So up to that point, December 2018, my channel was 6 years old. I think I started in December of 2012, and I may be a little off there, but I think that was right. I think Farming Sim 13 had just come out. That was my first farming sim. That's sort of when I started doing my tutorials, just for fun, really, just to try it out, and sort of picked up steam and people started watching. And so 6 years later, I had played a lot of Farming Simulator, and most of that had been Let's Plays and tutorials. I wasn't even playing the game anymore, like personally, like on my own time, so I sort of had stopped finding the enjoyment of it, I guess. So yeah, it wasn't a burnout of YouTube, I just burned out from this specific game. But since most of my channel is this game, and in my head it sort of all became the same. So in hindsight, obviously I should have just done something else, just chosen a different game, even if it doesn't get the viewership, which is fine. I should have just done that, just to keep the momentum and keep the habit. But I didn't. I just sort of faded out and stopped. So that was the burnout part of it. And the scary thing about burnout, if any of you have not experienced it yet, it's very sneaky. Like, you sort of know it's happening, but you sort of convince yourself that you can just like push through it, and a lot of people can, probably. They have the discipline and drive, and you do need to at some point. You know, it's not like I have a full-time job, so this YouTube's not my job. It's just a hobby / side gig kind of thing. It's something I do enjoy now that I'm back into it. But it's not like in my real like full-time job I don't burn out there, but you can find that like drive. You just have to sometimes. When it came to YouTube, I just didn't. That was my fault. Which brings me to my second kind of point, is that I just sort of didn't keep the discipline. I kept viewing this as a hobby, and so I gave myself the excuse that I could just quit, whatever, it's fine, and I just did, and it was stupid, and I obviously regret not making videos for a year and a half, but now I'm back, and I'm going to stay back. And I'll probably get down to 2 or 3 videos a week here in a little bit, maybe in a couple weeks. I definitely won't be able to keep up, 5 a week or anything, but that's fine with me. I'd rather just do what's in my control and do what I can, and that is what I can do. So where I've been, just living my non-YouTube life. So full-time job, wife, my cat. Really, just uneventful adult living. I'm trying to think of anything. We've traveled. We've gone to, let's see, last year we went to Amsterdam. That's probably the biggest event that occurred since I quit, or not quit, but stopped making YouTube videos. Yeah, that's it. Again, as far as like where I've been, it's just been very uneventful. Just boring old adult stuff. Love my life. Living life. I love it. I'm not saying my life is boring, but there's not a ton to talk about on a video. So, after that long diatribe, that's sort of what happened. That's sort of why I fell off. Why am I back? Because I wanted to. Because again, every so often I'd have this thought like, gosh, I need to make videos again. I want to get back into it, but I just didn't know what to do. I didn't want to make tutorials because I feel like I'd made them all. I put 1,000 hours into Factorio over the last year or so, and I was like, well, I have a list of tutorials I want to make for that. So basically when I do tutorials, I just make them... let's see. Let me figure out where this fertilizer is. This should work. It's expensive. Is there a cheaper one? Doesn't look like it. That's fine. So when I do a tutorial, I basically just think of I think of it like, what tutorial would I have wanted? Oh, okay. I don't remember this. So instead of doing a weeder, we could do this instead. Huh. Oh gosh, okay. Just a little bit more loan. And I forgot the last thing I said, so I'm probably going to repeat myself right now. I tried to make the tutorial. I tried to make a tutorial of what I would have wanted when I first started playing. That's how I started doing farming sim tutorials. I really struggled with Farming Sim 13 because if any of you played Farming Sim 13, they didn't tell you a lot of stuff. Like, there wasn't as much information to the player as there is now. And so a lot of it was obscure. And so I just started making tutorials of like, if I would have had these when I first started, it would have been really, really helpful. So I'm trying to do the same thing with Factorio now. It's like, what tutorials would I have wanted to watch during my first 50 hours of the game? So I figured when I came back, one thing I really wanted to do was create some Factorio tutorials. And then, yeah, I just wanted to do a farming sim let's play with a goal, since I had never done one with a goal. So it always felt like at a certain episode I would just sort of like stop because there's no end game. So I'm like, let's make an end game. So we're going to get to $1 million in the bank with no debt. And that may take 20 episodes, that may take 50. Doesn't matter. We have a goal to get to. We'll get there, and then we can figure out a new goal. Someone already said I should do a 10 million goal. Well, I think we should do 1 million first, and then we can see where that takes us. All right, enough about all that. If that didn't answer your question, I know that was a long spiel. If I didn't talk about what you were questioning, just ask questions again in the comments. I'm not sure if I covered what people actually cared about to know, so just let me know. Obviously, there'll be an episode 3 here by the end of the week, so I can keep answering. But I think this is better than creating a separate video on it, since that would just be watching my face talk, which is probably even more boring. So I do want to set the time to 15. I meant to do that at the beginning of the episode. We're going to do 15 for a little bit while I get my bearings, and then I think once we start getting animals, we'll set the time to 30. Otherwise, if you keep the time too slow with animals, you never really profit, because time never moves. So let's see where we are. Oh, this takes forever. I really should have splurged on a 6-meter sower. Whew, okay. One thing we can do... what time are we at? Oh yeah, we got plenty of time. We're going to leave this sunflower header. Actually, no, we leased this, didn't we? So we're going to take this sunflower header back to the shop and pick up the canola, kind of the grain header that we bought last time. Also, if you're new to my channel and now you're worried that all I do is talk about my past life every episode, I do want to assure you it's not always like that. I would say this is just sort of a special episode to address some things. Usually I do just play the game and talk about it, but sometimes I'll mention the weather in Nebraska, which people love. So, right, today it's hot and humid, just like always. Okay, so we're back at the shop. I don't even think we needed to go to the shop for this. I can't quite remember where it's at. Garage? and then we go to leased items, and we just have to return this. Yeah. If you want to sell something and you want the most money for it, then you will want to take it to the shop and put it there in this little box and sell it. But for a leased item, you can just return it because you don't get any money back for it. But now we don't have to pay for it anymore. And we'll pick up our tiny little baby grain header and take the long journey back to the farm. That leads me to thinking about next episode. So next episode we're going to have kind of the basics for crop management. We'll have sower, sprayer. We still might buy a weeder. How much are those? That's a small one. I'd probably just splurge and get this 12-meter one. But that way we don't have to buy herbicide, and that'll save us $1,200 or whatever. What was it? $1,200 or $2,000 a spray. We can just use that, rake it on the first stage or the second stage. We still can take out some loan, and we probably should. Otherwise, we're going to be making money way too slowly. So if you guys have any suggestions or anything you'd like to see in the next episode to earn us money, let me know. If you want to start chickens, pigs, forestry. I haven't done a lot of forestry in 19. They sort of nerfed it in 17, if I remember correctly. I think in 15, Farming Sim 15 is when they introduced forestry, and then in 17 they nerfed it. Like almost to the point where it wasn't worth it, if I remember right. And I may be wrong about all this. It's been a long time, but for how finicky forestry is, it kind of stopped making good money. But we have a lot of these trees. You can see just straight ahead by the water tower. We have a lot of trees we can cut down. I don't think it has to be on your property, but again, I haven't messed with it too much, especially not recently. So let me know what industry we should invest in episode 3, and we will get started doing that and making sure we keep our crops fertilized. So we have 50% fertilized and needs lime. We'll weed after. I think you have to wait till the first growth stage to weed. Yeah, and we'll just try to keep making lots of money. So again, episode 2, kind of a special episode, just to address things. Hopefully next time we'll be back to normal, but keep asking questions. If I want to keep it private, I will. I'm not too worried about you asking questions like that. I have no problem saying I won't answer it, so ask whatever you want. Otherwise, again, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in episode 3. Have yourselves a very nice day.